we grew up with the public executions, people dying in front of us, the victims, and the political prison camp where as a massive prison camp exists in North Korea even today. I thought that's all normal things because that's the right way to kill the, either criminals or in the camps because we thought in the outside other countries they are doing more horrible than my country. So, but on the same time, the public executions are constant reminder that I shouldn't do anything against our government leadership. Otherwise, I will be exactly killed like the person in front, the victim in front of me.
Do you remember how old you were when you first saw a public execution?
7. When I was 7, I saw the first one when I was 7, and at that time it was hanging. I saw the hanging. I think hanging is more scary than watching, those shootings. So I saw a man was hanged by his neck under a railroad bridge. And the hanging kind of stops. It happens in the prison camp even today, but in publicly they started shooting from early 1990s. So since then we just saw that people are just 9 bullets per person they're shooting, and then they're just brain, the blood from head is exploded. Just almost every North Korean saw that kind of very scary scenes. We grew up with that. We never learned about democracy and how it looked like. So we just believed everything what regime told us. Like, we only have 1 TV channels, and North Korea is the only country until today where there's no internet. The average people have no way to access internet. And then the cell phone system, it was only brought from 2009, and then only those who has money can use it. Otherwise, they have no way to access even cell phones.
What do you remember when you first questioned that, as you describe it, brainwashing?
That starts from age 4, actually, and we learned the dictator's name before learn our parents' name, and they are more important than my parents. And the first thing we began to learn was like from the textbook, I guess. It was like saying, during the Japanese colonial period, our dear leader, the first founder, Kim Il-sung, he's just against the Japanese enemies by crossing from this mountain to the other mountain, by crossing the rainbows. So I was thinking, wow, I thought, I was young at the time, I was thinking, rainbow, actually, that's a real bridge that I could even cross the rainbow bridges. And then also when the military soldiers were suffering, from the lack of food, our dear leader made the rice from the sands made into rice. So
you believed these miracles,
yeah.
Really?
And then when I was 7 or 8, I realized actually the rainbow is not a bridge. Then at that moment, I wasn't thinking, actually, he was lying to us. I was thinking, he's God. That's what he could do, like normal human being can't do. So that's the brainwash starts from age 4, and then we just automatically, we believed everything. Because our grandparents, they didn't tell us the truth because they were scared to be sent to political prison camp for their rest of family members. So they became quiet, and then my grandparents' generation, they were completely blinded. So we are more, yeah.
So how did you actually get out?
I never meant to escape my country completely because moreover, I couldn't even imagine being separated from my family forever. I was really naive at that time, but brave to find out the answer. So without telling my family, if I told my family, they would strongly prevent me to leave that because it's not a joke, that situation. So without telling them, I was thinking just visiting China for 1 week and then I would come back. That was all what I knew at the time. From North Korean side, the North Korean military guards are armed. That's all military guards. They are patrolling per each 50 or 30 meters per 2 military soldiers. And then at that time, wasn't that shooting happened. It was 1997. But these days, after the young dictator Kim Jong-un, he even ordered the militaries, whoever crossed the border, shooting people without the permission. And then sometimes the border guards are even, many of the times, they're releasing military trained dogs. So the dogs are chasing North Korean defectors who have crossed the border, and then the dogs. It's okay even if the dog landed Chinese soil. It's not illegal for the dogs. So the dog was just biting the people, just kill the people. That happens. So in that situation, I was really lucky. I think one of a few lucky North Korean who could escape my country freely, because I had a really good relationship with the border guards, because we were living on the border towns. So they need our help, we needed their help. So at the time, we just helped each other. So they couldn't imagine actually I'm escaping my country, because I didn't know myself either. They thought my life was really good in North Korea, so they couldn't imagine this girl are escaping the country. But the moment I was crossing the border into China, I didn't know that moment could be the last minute with my home country, and I had to be separated from my family for 14 years. Or the brilliant new world in China, actually that's not for me. And I had to avoid the country, and I had to live in the shadows. Those things I just had no idea. And then just crossing the border into China completely changed my life.
So when Donald Trump says, as he has, that a deal with North Korea is very much in the making, are you hopeful for the first time really in your life?
I mean, the other previous government in America, they had soft policy on North Korea, or either they're underestimated about the North Korea's dictator's power, or they consider him as a stupid, young man. But while we were just wasted our time on North Korea, actually they succeeded. They made real the nuclear power right now, and that it's really threatening to the world, especially America. And it's time really difficult to stop right now, and that which is too late by this time. So I think the President Trump, what he was doing pressure on North Korea, and then the strongest sanctions ever on North Korea, everything, is quite successful right now, because I never thought this time North Korean regime actually asked the summit between the two leaders this fast. Never expected. This came too fast and then too unpredictably right now. So I feel somehow it's scary inside. I don't think it's like normal. Something is behind, something is hiding, under the North Korean regime. But at the same time, who knows? Because two unpredictable leaders are facing together. Maybe they are so cool together, and then maybe they're gonna shaking hand. Maybe let's do this, do that. Who knows? Maybe it might gonna happen like this time the summit, which we never expected, but it's going to happen.
But they've been so rude about each other. I mean, how do you think they'll get on?
Yeah, the tweeting, the president tweeted back to North Korea. It shouldn't be like that way, but this time the meeting, I think it will not go the same way. They're using those words between. I think they pretty much will respect each other, so they were going to approach in a mature way this summit. Exactly 1 month ago, where the President Trump invited 8 North Korean defectors. I was one of them, invited to the White House, and then he met us, and then he spent time with us. He's willing to listen every single attendee's stories. So we supposed to meet actually 30 minutes with the president, but he spent more time, so we met like 15 minutes with him. It looked completely different than what I saw him from actually TV, from media, but he looked more like, fatherly. I feel like more. It was a really different images. I was quite surprised. And that moment I realized maybe in my lifetime, this is the only time I can meet the President of the United States. So with this very little limited time, I should speak something very important instead of talking my story. That's how I was thinking, bring up the repatriations, because this is to stop the repatriations is my hope and hope of 30,000 North Korean defectors living in South Korea, and I don't know if 200,000 defectors are hiding in China. everyone's hope to stopping repatriations, because the reality is the defectors, when they're escaping from North Korea through China to go to South Korea, like for their freedom, they're carrying poisons with them, because the success rate is really low in China. So in case they are caught in China, they would rather kill themselves than being repatriated to North Korea.